Welcome to the Pyramyd Insider. I'm Tyler Patner. Today we're going to get a chance to meet one of the Knights of the Round Table. We're going medieval with the Air Arms Galahad. So the Galahad is the latest offering from Air Arms. It's a bullpup design, what they call a sport pup, because the rifle version, which we have here, is kind of in between a rifle and a bullpup. So maybe like a semi-bullpup, if you will. But they do also have a carbine version, and that's a little bit shorter. This comes in 22 and 25 calibers. There are a ton of features here, so let's check them out. So starting up front on the Galahad, we have a fully shrouded Lothar-Walther barrel. Now up front here, this is the Q-Tech moderator from Air Arms. This is their flagship suppressor. Here in the States, we can't have it where it's removable like they do over in the UK, so they've permanently fixed it to the barrel shroud here, and it is very effective. But moving on here, down below, we do have our quick fill port and a gauge at the end. Now you see that just slides forward there for your fill probe. Comes with a standard fill probe, threaded to 1/8 inch BSPP there on the end, so you will need a quick disconnect adapter if that's how your setup for your filling goes. So we're just going to insert the fill probe there. You'd connect right up and go ahead and fill, and then you can see that gauge there on the end. Now the Galahad's a little bit different than most of the other Air Arms guns. Fills to 250 bar, so about 3,600 PSI. For mounting an optic here, we do have a Weaver Picatinny style rail, and on the very back you'll notice there is a little micro bubble level there. Comes in real handy when you're shooting, helps you get rid of that cant, you know, that left to right tilting of the gun, which certainly can affect your accuracy, particularly at longer ranges. So with a gun like this, it's capable of shooting, 50 plus yards accurately. You're definitely going to want that little feature, and it's actually really nice. It co-witnesses amazingly well, where you're looking through the scope and you don't even have to move your head. You just look down right there, that bubble level, make sure you're straight, and you're good to shoot. It's a really handy feature, one that I'm really glad to see Air Arms has gone with, as well as the Weaver style rail. I think that's a move forward for them. Really like that one. On the underside of the stock here, we do have a bit of a fore-end rail. Most of you guys will probably need some kind of adapter. The Harris sling adapter would fit into this rail. This is a normal like UIT rail that you'd find on a lot of competition rifles. They've gone ahead and added that there, but that Harris adapter will give you a little swivel stud that you can then put a bipod or a sling on if you wanted to. The stock, as you can see, has quite a bit of checkering, not only on the underside, but on both sides of the stock and the pistol grip as well. This is the soft touch coating, so it's a wood stock with this soft touch finish on it, and it's really nice, grips very well. Seems to be pretty wear resistant also, hasn't gotten scratched or dinged so far, so I'm very impressed with that also. And probably one of the more unique features you'll see on the Galahad here, and one that I've been super impressed with, is this forward style cocking lever. Now, not only is this mounted forward so that when you're in a shooting position, it's right there, but it also goes forward. Check this out. So you just take your thumb, press forward. You've now cocked the gun, cycled the magazine. All you have to do is bring it back forward. Your hand's right there, ready to go back into a shooting position, and you can take your shot. So it cycles really quickly, really easily. There's not too much pressure here, even for about a 30 foot-pound gun, which this is. Hammer spring tension, they've figured out a way to kind of mitigate that and make this really easy to operate. This is probably the easiest cocking bullpup from a position perspective that I've seen to date. The Galahad, like most other PCP bolt rifles here, despite being a little bit of an odd bolt, you can decock it. Very simple procedure, just like most of your other bullpups. Just go ahead, hold it down, pull the trigger, and release the bolt. And it also, big feature here for the lefties out there, you can actually swap it. So right over here, you simply pull that bolt out, pull the one on the cocking lever side out, and you switch it over, put them both back in, you're good to go. So speaking of pulling the trigger there, the trigger on the Galahad is two-stage adjustable. Came out of the box really nice, nice and defined two-stage. Probably over a pound if I had to guess, but just looking at the diagrams and everything, should be able to adjust well under that. It looks like a standard 510 trigger type of mechanism, so I don't see why you couldn't get that well below a pound if you wanted to. Now, probably one of the biggest features the Galahad has over most of the other Air Arms line is the regulator. It is internally regulated. This gun should be extremely consistent over the chronograph due to that regulator. Should get us a couple extra shots as well. To give you guys an idea on high power, should deliver 32 foot-pounds depending on the pellets, but normally on an S510 platform, you'd be looking at about 35 shots. Now on this guy, they're saying about 40 to 50, so we'll see if it does fall within that range. I'm expecting it to, but on medium and low, you would obviously get far more, and we'll test that for you guys at a later date, but this time we're just gonna focus on that high power setting since that's where most folks are gonna use it. Nice thing about the Galahad here, uses a standard S510 magazine style that is tried and true, simply removes there. Now, best part of this though, comes with not only one, but 2 magazines. I know that's something as a former S510 owner, I wanted 2 magazines, obviously had to buy an extra. With the Galahad, you get 2 from the factory, so that is a beautiful thing. I like the fact that Air Arms has included that second one. One of the more unique features on the Galahad, which is a very small feature, but one I like a lot, fully adjustable buttstock. Now, this is not only adjustable, as you see here, up and down, but it also cants left and right. So if you're right-handed, left-handed, if you want to bring yourself into the gun, take yourself further away from the gun to get whatever the most comfortable cheek weld is for yourself, this butt pad is going to provide that for you. And that's a nice feature that a lot of people overlook, but one I really like. For the accuracy portion of the review today, we went ahead and mounted a Hawk Air Max 30 4-16 scope. Good size for the gun overall, adds a little bit more weight than I'd like, but I'll deal with it, not a big deal, especially since we're just shooting off the bench for this. But we're gonna go ahead and test it for accuracy at 45 yards. Really no reason to test it any closer. I think it's gonna do fine at 45, give you guys a very good idea of what this gun's capable of. But we're also gonna do chronograph strings. Obviously, we'll do a full string on high power, and like I said before, we'll test the low and the medium powers at a later date. I'll find out where they're shooting for you guys just to give you a velocity idea, but we'll get a full string with those later on. Go see how this regulator's performing, and of course, we'll sound test it for you guys. So let's head out to the range and see what it does. So by popular demand, we went ahead and got a sound meter for you guys to give you guys a decibel reading on the guns here. So the Galahad here, we'll shoot it on a high setting, a medium setting, and a low setting. It'll give us the highest reading. We'll do 2 shots each. We got our trap down range here, but you know, it might be a little weird just with the echoing, but should be fairly authentic in terms of sound that you guys are gonna be hearing when you buy this gun and shoot it at home. All right, guys, so we're about to do our accuracy testing at 45 yards. We tried a lot of different pellets in the Galahad. I got Field Target Trophies, Kodiaks, or H&M Barracudas for the H&N Inclined out there. But the most accurate in this gun were gonna be the JSBs and the Air Arms pellets. The AA Fields, the 16 grainers did okay, but the 2 I'm gonna focus on are the Jumbo Exacts and the Jumbo Exact Heavies. The 18 grains and the 15.89s. These were by far the 2 best pellets, so let's see how they do at 45. Oh, it's a nice groove. That's tasty. So we're doing things a little backwards today. Now that we've done our accuracy testing, we're gonna take that best pellet, which they shot about the same, but I'm gonna take the 18 grain heavies because they are gonna give us a little bit more energy downrange. So we're gonna take those and we're gonna run them over the chronograph, see how many shots we get and how consistent the Galahad is. So looking over the rest of our shot string here, you see we took about 50 shots on the chronograph. I'd call it at 47 realistically. It's about a 20 foot per second spread overall. And with an average of 888 feet per second, that's 10 feet per second on either side of our average, which is really phenomenal. Standard deviation of only 2.8 feet per second. This gun's really not moving from shot to shot to shot, which is excellent. Going down to about 140 bar, you're going to get, like I said, about 47 to 50 good shots out of this gun. And bear in mind, guys, that 20 feet per second spread, while it may look a little large when you have it compressed on a graph like this, it's not really going to be enough to move your point of impact even at 50 yards. So with that averaging like 1 pound, 13 ounces or so, comes in a little heavier than I thought. Now, honestly, a lot heavier than it felt. Which I think speaks to the way, that first stage, second stage marry up. So it's a very, very clean break on this trigger. It came set from the factory beautifully. I might take it down a little bit just for myself, but I think for most folks it's probably going to be more than acceptable out of the box. Tyler. Are we? Oh, yeah. Sorry guys, I really like this one. Quite frankly, I don't have to say much here. I think the gun did most of the speaking for me. But I will say 2 gripes with the gun. The weight, about 8.5 pounds, it's a little heavy for me. And the safety on the trigger, I'm not a big fan of that. I'd prefer it anywhere else on the gun, just not on the trigger. But as far as positives, they're overwhelming here. You have, the quietness of the Q-Tech suppressor on here, the innovation of the forward cocking lever that's actually really easy to use. You got the little things, the bubble level, the standardized power adjuster that you find on most of the Air Arms guns. The Galahad really has it all. The trigger's nice, adjustable for your preferences. The soft touch stock, 45, 50 shots, half-inch accuracy at 45 yards. I don't know what more you guys could honestly want in a gun. For my money, this is probably my new favorite gun of 2016. So I can't say much more for it. But we'll see you guys next time on The Insider. It's been a pleasure. Tyler Patner, signing off.